Good evening, and thank you for coming to the screening of Duel in the Sun. Marvelous film and wonderfully restored. And the person that is responsible for that restoration is Kevin Schaeffer, and is gonna with Disney, and he's gonna head of restoration for Disney, and he's gonna introduce the film and the work they did to bring it back to us. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. So let these gentlemen find their seats. Thank you, Julia. Hello. Thank you. I'm going to run to the podium because that lets me feel like I'm hiding slightly. And I can't read my notes. So, good evening and welcome to what is actually the U.S. theatrical premiere of this restoration. So, So, although we have a very special introduction you're going to see right before the film, please humor me with a few minutes to discuss the history of the movie, because the history, what happened behind the scenes on this, it was almost as dramatic and at times melodramatic as what happens on the screen, which is crazy. So Duel in the Sun premiered on New Year's Eve, December 31st, 1946 at the gorgeous Egyptian Theater in Los Angeles. When it opened for general release, admission prices were slightly increased since it was an epic film, and that helped raise its earnings and made it the second highest grossing film of 1947. Adjusted for inflation, the $20.4 million box office then would be about $336 million today, which is crazy. Super producer David O. Selznick, he intended this epic Western to be a greater artistic and financial success than his monumental Gone with the Wind a few years earlier. He envisioned a lavish production on epic vistas with no expense spared. And that's exactly what he got. When production began, the script was a stunning 170 pages long, and it grew to 200 pages while they shot. Filming lasted a year and a half, with Selznick constantly delaying production, rewriting completed scenes, insisting that they be reshot. He was battling amphetamine addiction throughout the production, making his legendary hands-on approach even more erratic than usual. And the editorial process also was extensive. Okay, I don't know if this is true. Bruce could probably tell me. But I have read, there are rumors, that the original assemble of the film was 26 hours long. It's an awful lot of Jennifer Jones. So, due to the film's huge production costs, which were rumored to be over $6 million in 1946, which today would be about $100 million. And then there was an unprecedented $2 million publicity campaign on top of that. So with all of this, the film only broke even despite its huge box office success. And with the final costs eventually tallying $1 million more than the total cost for Gone with the Wind. So it made it the most expensive Western ever made at that point. Critical reception ran from praise to condemnation. Just a horrible mean quote that I happen to love. Film at Lincoln Center described it as, quote, something like a Greek tragedy in a 10-gallon hat. That's my kind of movie. All right, but it was successful, and it received 2 Oscar nominations, Jennifer Jones for lead actress and the great Lillian Gish for supporting actress. Page 2. So you will hear more about censorship in a minute from someone much more qualified than I, but I just want to note my favorite censorship change. The Legion of Decency and the Hayes office were very concerned about the presentation of a religious man, so much so that narration had to be added to the prelude to reassure the film going public. So enjoy that. Mr. Martin Scorsese has said that this film was the first he remembers seeing as a child, and it left a large impact on him. It was also my mother's favorite movie, and she loved it. She saw it when she was young, well, 21. When I was in college, she hadn't seen it since its first release, so I took her to see it at a revival theater, and she sat there transfixed the entire film. And I'm looking at her thinking, wow, that's crazy. And then for the first time ever, I realized when the film was initially released, she was a 21-year-old half-Mexican girl living in the resort town of Galveston, Texas. And the broad strokes of the story's plot about racism and the inability to be fully accepted clearly resonated within her in a way that I'd never thought of before. And to be honest, I think that's the first time I saw my mother as a person, and not just my mother. So the other says, huge family, huge for my family. For this restoration, this is not about me, sorry about that. For this restoration, we created a 4K resolution 16-bit scan of the original 35mm YCM negatives that are archived at the Museum of Modern Art. And we borrowed Martin Scorsese's personal original nitrate print to use as a color and luminance guide for the restoration work at Scenic Inc., who Balaj actually had to leave, but the founder of that company is here every year, so we love and support them. Audio Mechanics performed additional restoration on the audio that was taken from a nitrate print archived at the Library of Congress. We pulled from everywhere to get the best. And this restoration premiered at the 2025 Cannes Film Festival earlier this year, which was quite exciting. So with that said, I must thank Genevieve, Julia, and the Sag Harbor team for this invitation and building this incredible celebration that we're here for this weekend and celebrating preservation. I also must acknowledge my restoration manager, Nikki G., who actually did the work on this and wonderfully, as well as the incredible artists at Audio Mechanics and Scenic Inc. And thank you for your support and your interest in what we're doing, because without you, we don't get to do it. So thank you. And with that, please enjoy. Oh, and as Mr. Scorsese will tell you, this is the roadshow version. Settle in. There is an overture. There is a prelude. There is exit music. We're going to be here a long time. Thank you very much.